Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I can't get enough of this, the interview that Link2 had done with John Deaton, because there are so many different sound clips in there where these guys are talking about how people will be able to access, how some of these banks, and like they're using Bank of America as an example, will be able to use XRP post the Ripple ruling. And so I've got another clip, but first I wanted to show you what Digital Perspectives had pointed out about the other clip that I had put out. As long as Bank of America isn't purchasing directly from Ripple, they can use it. But this is what it reminds all of us of. Must listen, the stage is set for U.S. banks to purchase XRP off the exchanges or buy through offshore overseas companies. Will we see the Shane Ellis theory play out and buy up the liquidity off the retail exchanges? Stage is set for XRP price explosion. He's got the chart here that he's drawn where he's showing institutions only being able to get from exchanges in the U.S. and that they could go outside the U.S. to get it. But this is kind of what we saw. We saw like a flash of it on the Gemini exchange when XRP went to $50. Now check this out. This is Joe Indoso. Look, I've been in this game for over 5 years now. Joe Indoso is probably one of the top 3 most sophisticated guys that I have met since I got into crypto. He's the COO of Link2. Listen to what he says.
You would expect large institutions, financial institutions, certainly like Bank of America, to transact. I think it was actually quite timely and maybe fully intended that Ripple created and introduced this liquidity hub product. Because what I'd be doing if I were in Ripple's shoes today is I'd be integrating liquidity hub into the RippleNet product. So every user of RippleNet, like Bank of America, would simply port into liquidity hub as the means of obtaining and managing that XRP position that they need to work through ODL. Right? Liquidity hub is just a massive smart router engine. It has feeds to accounts that Ripple has opened across all the liquidity venues around the world. Basically, virtually every exchange where there is depth of liquidity, it has accounts at. So if I'm Bank of America, I become a liquidity hub customer, and on any given moment, or where I need, pick a number, $1 billion worth of XRP to transact, I plug that into Liquidity Hub, and Liquidity Hub will break that $1 billion up into fractions and route them for execution and closing across all the exchanges to get the optimal average acquisition price for XRP. And then when I'm done using the XRP for ODL, I turn around and I go the opposite direction, and I have that same smart engine route my sell order and go back to cash. And that's what I want to do. Sell the XRP across all the venues to get the optimal price for Bank of America, right? And at no time do I ever have to be in a position where I'm actually taking XRP from Ripple itself. I'm doing it through all of these exchanges. And what Ripple will do in that instance is it'll be on an ongoing basis looking at the XRP available across all those exchanges worldwide and just distributing XRP through those exchanges. It will sell XRP into those exchanges to create supply.
Wow. Almost as if it was all planned before they even got the ruling. Now check this out from PC Magazine. X, Elon Musk's X, formerly Twitter, is going to begin to have users verify their identity by having them submit a selfie alongside a government-issued ID. The process requires users to consent to X storing their information for 30 days, sharing it with this company that's going to be their identity verification. They're out of Israel. None of that surprises me. Now check this clip out. This is from Digital Perspectives. Must listen. Former Ripple Chief Compliance Officer, Special Advisor Karen Gifford. I honestly don't know how any banks can comply with those Dodd-Frank rules. Listen to what she says right here.
I'd just like to pick up a little bit
See if I can turn the volume
what
up.
you were saying, Patrick, about whether or not these technologies enable compliance in a setting where there's trust, which is obviously where my company's focus is, right? So on the banks and financial institutions that do have these regulatory requirements, it's interesting to see that sometimes these open protocols actually make compliance more straightforward and easier. So, like with the Ripple protocol, there's point-to-point settlement with implications, very positive implications for things like the new fee pre-disclosure rules under Dodd-Frank. I honestly don't know how any bank can comply with those rules if they're not using Ripple. I mean, I'm not saying that to
Nothing sells like fear. Just
right. If you don't know in advance where the payment is going and what fees are going to be added to it before the recipient gets it, it's extremely hard to comply with pre-disclosure. And my understanding is that what banks are doing in order to comply is just raising their fees so that there's a cushion, so that they don't get caught under disclosing the fee, which is really the opposite result of what everyone was hoping for with that regulation. So the banks that we're seeing that are integrating the Ripple protocol are really excited about the fact that because the settlement is point to point, they can pre-confirm what the fees will be and disclose it to their customers in advance. And it's the actual amount. It's not a guess.
All right. Now, this is how sick our country is. This is a clip of Jim Rickards that is about the petrodollar. I can't play this clip because in this clip, he talks about a certain couple of buildings that had gone down in New York City back in early 2000s. And if I talk about those things on YouTube, they will potentially take the video down, but censor me and do all kinds of stuff. In the United States of America, I can't talk about that. Okay, so I'm going to have to skip this video, but I am going to show you this video. Listen to this.
Of the non-aligned movement. I believe this summit is equally of historic significance because I believe it's going to mark a turning point in terms of announcing in a very firm manner and a very loud manner the arrival of the Global South working together as a collective and being the architects of shaping a new global order, a multipolar global order that is inclusive, that is representative, and where we leave no one behind in the true sense of using that phrase.
New global
and I think
order.
If you have to look at what's going to happen in South Africa over the next few days, it is indeed not only historical, but significant in terms of what happens henceforth in terms of our cooperation, expected expansion of BRICS. And can you imagine if there was no BRICS today? Take away the global geopolitical scenario without a BRICS. Who is championing collectively our interest as a global South, our interest as Africa, as a powerful collective? The voice of BRICS on the global stage today cannot be ignored. It has firmly arrived, and we have galvanized around us the major part of the global South. You have assembling here over the next few days the largest gathering in recent times of countries of the global South to collectively look at the challenges and the opportunities and work together in partnership in ensuring that we are at the forefront of shaping this new global order. We no longer want to be outliers and marginal to what is happening on the global stage. BRICS can provide leadership, and this summit will show that BRICS will take a leadership role in terms of creating a more equitable, a more inclusive, a more representative, and a more humane global community.
All right, it's coming, folks. Now, the Digital Pound Foundation is putting out the MasterCard announcement about Ripple and their partnership. My question is, Digital Pound Foundation, does that mean we're going to get a digital pound? They keep talking about Ripple. Does that mean we're going to get a digital pound that's built on the XRP ledger? I don't see why not, after a few of these smaller countries do it. Then we've got Caitlin Long, and she was on with Thinking Crypto. Listen to what she says. She's talking about FTX, and I want to ask you something. I want you to ask yourself something. Why is it that everything that every time there's a scam or a fraud or anything where it's obvious that where we've shown you the video where there's either lies or dishonesty, or they're hiding things like disguised whales, or they want you to think they don't know who Satoshi is, but they really do, or they're telling you that Jed McCaleb that Mt. Gox was started in Japan when we know he was in Costa Rica. Everywhere you look, folks, it's like everywhere where there's dishonesty or some kind of dishonest thing going on, the government pops its head up, like here.
That's the thing. So we have an advisor who's working with Custodia who spent her entire career at the Fed. And she wrote an op-ed in American Banker in December. And she said, look, the Fed should have caught this because they acquired, Alameda, the affiliate of FTX, acquired 80% of the equity of Farmington State Bank, aka Moonstone Bank. And that tripped the control rules that she herself helped write at the Fed. And they should have applied, they being FTX, should have applied for approval from the Fed to make that acquisition, and they did not. Now, what is interesting is that the Fed didn't discuss that point in its cease and desist order today. Also, Jay Powell met with Sam Bankman-Fried for 1 hour just weeks before that March 2022 acquisition made by Alameda of 80% of the equity of that bank.
Wow.
I have no idea what they talked about, but not a lot of people get a full hour with Jay Powell, and Sam Bankman-Fried did.
Well, Caitlin, that seems to be the theme now that the dust is settled here after the collapse, and we're seeing all these information come.
I don't think it's an accident that you see the government pop up, and they're always there to protect the things that are actual frauds, but they don't protect the transparent thing. They go after the transparent things that are, and it has to be because they're a part of the creation of these things. Look at this. I want you to watch this video. And as you watch it, I just wanted to remind you, this is the FTX organizational chart that had to have been put together by Sam Bankman-Fried's Stanford tax attorney parents, who nothing has been done to. They were involved in, we know the dad. We have pictures of the dad at the FTX headquarters. Listen to what this guy says, because I think he is directly over the target.
Kill crypto to introduce CBDCs, and they have to kill cash. 100%. So what do they have to do? They have to introduce systems that show that the current ecosystem is unsafe. So crypto, unsafe. Let's introduce a Trojan horse like Sam Bankman-Fried, fund his ass, get him propped up, get the little vegan autistic kid to run the show, make it look.
Did you ever find it weird that they always put Sam Bankman-Fried's face on all the advertising? I did.
Altruistic as fuck, and then we'll just scam. Wow. And we'll just run it that way. And dude, if you don't think the CIA is out here running psyops on crypto in order to destabilize it, you're wrong. It's absolutely happening. But it's not only happening in the crypto land, it's also happening in every other global currency that is trying to compete with the United States. Sure. But we also have to understand it from this side of the aisle. Think about all the guys that are worth tens of billions of dollars secretly inside of America that need to preserve and conserve their wealth, and most of their wealth is in dollars. These guys are going to go to war for their money. 100%. They're going to go to war for their purchasing power. So what you're seeing right now is you're seeing the big dogs move.
The big dogs move. Now look what John Deaton said. Why hasn't Sam Bankman-Fried fraud's parents been arrested or indicted? Where are the anti-crypto politicians? Elizabeth Warren, Gary Gensler, Brad Sherman, Senator Sherrod Brown, Senator Jack Reed, Representative Maxine Waters. Why haven't any of you called for both SBF's parents to be indicted? Is it because his dad advised you, Senator Warren? Is it because his mother is a huge Democrat donor who runs a PAC? You talk about how crypto is nothing but fraudsters, yet you are silent when it comes to your friends and donors. You all should be ashamed of yourselves. You have no honor, no integrity. Well, the same can be said for everybody that's protecting Ethereum. Where is Gary Gensler? Where's Hester Pierce? Where's Patrick McHenry? Where's Warren Davidson? Where's Tom Emmer? When it comes to this is, remember, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson were not accused of fraud. This guy was with Ethereum. Listen to what he says.
If we were going to actually become functioning parts of the global economy, we had to not allow the space that we were in to be overrun by fraud. Right? Because at that point, you can't make any claim that we created a libertarian environment. What we created, unfortunately, to a very substantial degree, was a criminal environment, because we had technologies which could have blocked crime and we didn't use them that way. And as a result, an enormous number of people literally got ripped off from one end to the other. And because all the numbers were going up, a lot of that fraud was just buried in growth in the underlying platform tokens. You lose a bunch of money on an ICO, but you make it back up because your remaining ether is worth 40 times what it was the day before. Those are completely exceptional market conditions, right? And those market conditions, let us not forget, every penny that went in came from somebody else taking a loss, right? These numbers don't just appear from nowhere. A lot of people lost a lot of money in crypto, and that money is what fueled the ICO scams. So we have to think about this in terms of wealth transfer versus wealth creation. Crypto was an enormously effective bubble in terms of wealth transfer.
I'm a digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and ask your friends and family, how come all the things that appear to be fraud are protected by the government? Riddle me that. Thanks for listening.